The question of whether intelligent extraterrestrial life is visiting Earth and whether the government is concealing it is no longer confined to conspiracy theory circles.
That are just inexplicable by the science available to us. Army Colonel Carl Nell, a member of the federal government UAP task force, said at a conference this past May that non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity. This interaction is not new, and it's been ongoing, and there are unelected people in the government that are aware of that.
I'm treating this discussion and these hearings in a way that's bipartisan. I think one thing that's very important for all of us that are interested in the conversation around UAPs.
Congressional leaders are now taking seriously the possibility that unidentified objects may be breaching U.S. airspace, and that, for decades, the military has secretly retrieved these craft to advance its own technology.
Without objection, entered in the record. All right, so next we will introduce our witnesses for today's hearing. Thank you so much for being here. Our first witness is retired Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet, who retired from the U.S. Navy and is now the Chief Executive Officer at Ocean STL Consulting. Our second witness is Mr. Lou Elizondo, a former Department of Defense official.
On Wednesday, a new group of witnesses offered fresh testimony on these issues during a joint hearing by House Oversight Committee subcommittees. Lasting over 2 hours, the hearing marked Congress's latest deep dive into the topic of UFOs, following previous testimony in July 2023.
At the time, my personnel were participating in a pre-deployment naval exercise off the U.S. East Coast. It included the USS Theodore Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group, and this exercise was overseen by the United States Fleet Forces Command, led by a 4-star admiral who at the time was also my superior officer. During this exercise, I received an email on Navy's secure network from the operations officer of U.S. Fleet Forces Command. The email was addressed to all the subordinate commanders, and the subject line read in all capital letters, "Urgent Safety of Flight Issue." The text of the email was brief but alarming, with words to the effect, "If any of you know what these are, tell me ASAP. We are having multiple near mid-air collisions, and if we do not resolve this soon, we are going to have to shut down the exercise."
Aliens exist, and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's former space security chief. In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are. NBC News chief global correspondent Bill Neely explains this one.
Hi, Alison. Well, this is quite a story, and it comes from the man who headed Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years. Chaim Eshed is making the extraordinary claim that the United States and Israel have been in contact with a group of aliens for years. Not immigrants, but extraterrestrials.
The big question is, now that Trump has been reelected, will he declassify the info on UAPs, or will they continue to hide it from us?
The question is, are we alone?
You ever seen a UFO in these parts?
Just 12 minutes after the astronauts left planet Earth Friday morning, part of the Falcon 9 rocket separates from the Dragon. That's when some kind of object flies between the two.
When he was filming the Aurora Borealis, he was doing a time lapse. Just into the time lapse, there's a few objects that appear. We're going to freeze it for you so you can get a good look at it. 5 objects appear flying alongside each other with the same distance in between them. He suggested they may have been, quote, space guests. Whatever.
In night vision video from a Navy destroyer, a mysterious flying triangle above the deck of the ship. The Pentagon confirming the images obtained by documentary filmmaker Jeremy Corbell were taken by Navy personnel, expected to be a part of a report on unidentified aerial phenomenon to be presented to Congress this summer. The objects go beyond just flying in the sky. One shows a spherical object dipping into the ocean, similar to an incident in Puerto Rico where an object was tracked buzzing an airport, then flying into the water, popping back out before appearing to split into two and disappearing.